Welcome, everyone. It's time for Wanderhome. This is a very different game from the others we've been playing, and probably a breath of fresh air after the last one. So I'm going to let Logan take it from here.
Cool, thanks, Dan. Yes, welcome everyone. We're playing Wanderhome by J Dragon at Possum Creek Games. This game can be found at the Possum Creek Games website, just possumcreekgames.com. It is a pastoral fantasy game of animal folk traveling the land of Haith. And I'm joined by 5 animal folk here today, which will be very exciting. And we're just going to go on a wander together. Again, we are raising money today, so Dan will be down in the chat with the Tiltify link, so keep an eye on that. And today's donation incentive is that you can donate to give a token to a player, and these are a currency that ebbs and flows as narrative hooks. So, firstly, I'd like all the players to please introduce themselves. So, yeah, I'm Logan. I use he/him pronouns, and I will be the guide for today.
Okay. Who wants to? I'll go first if no one else wants to bite that bullet. Hello. My name is Zoob. I'm from the Broken Lords podcast. You may have seen me yesterday on the Blades in the Dark playthrough. That's a great VOD. You should definitely go check that out after the stream is all said and done. I am playing a raccoon named Zacchaeus, who is what is called a Firelight class. That's the class. A very manly, world-worn raccoon who was part of the unspeakable war that must not be named a long time ago, but everything's okay now. Don't worry about it. Also, the Barbaros, it's just part of who he is. It's totally not a coping mechanism.
Thanks, Sue.
No problem.
I'll go. Oh, it's on tape. All right. What? All right. So I'm Ari. I'm helping to run the marathon, Meowrathon. The cats you see on stream are ours. And I'm going to be playing the Haunted playbook. And my name is Mildred A. Badger. And yeah, I am a badger. And she's kind of quiet, a little grumpy, and kind of definitely keeps to herself a lot.
Thank you.
I can go next if that's our. Name's Dane. He/him pronouns. I'm playing Cecil, who's a ground squirrel, and I'm playing Shepherd playbook. And he's just kind of a little farmer guy, just doing his farmer thing.
Awesome.
All right, I can go. I'm Chris. I use he/him pronouns. I will be playing Velra, who is a moth tender, essentially, from what I gather, kind of the mailman of the world. He is a bat who is very calm, very blunt. He knows who he is. He knows what he is, and he kind of makes no bones about it. He's not a rude guy, but he definitely doesn't beat around the bush with things, I guess.
I'm Edward. I'll be playing Ponderosa today, a kind of in-your-face, but in chatterbox pine marten. I am using the Ragamuffin playbook, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Lovely. Cool. So again, yes, we're all animal folk in the land of Haith, which some time ago there was a war, but since there's been peace and there's no conflict really like that anymore. And the characters that we play today are not heroes, where if you think about it, we're not main characters. The world is much bigger than any of us, and even all of us combined. and we are each sort of fixed with this wanderlust, this thirst to travel and see all the beauty in the world. We're not here to fix things or solve problems. We're just in for a beautiful ride. So, as part of character creation on your playbooks, you will have a section that says ask one to the left and one to the right. So we'll go around the circle and everyone ask one to the right. So, and I'll reiterate this order, but Dane will ask you, Zub to Chris, Chris to Edward, Edward to Mildred, or, from your character. So it would be Cecil to Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus to Velra, Velra to Ponderosa, Ponderosa to Mildred, and then we'll go back the other way. Mildred to Cecil, sorry, and then we'll go back the other way. So, Dane, if you want to take us away with Cecil asking one question to Zacchaeus, and Zacchaeus, you can answer however you like.
Certainly. I think I'd go with, do you think of yourself as part of my family?
Your family? I guess the world is kind of big in that sense, so in a universal sense, we're all part of the same family, ain't we?
I reckon that's right.
Lovely. All right, Zub, if you want to ask a question as Zacchaeus to Velra.
Velrock. Okay. I'm making notes.
Yeah, go for it.
Velrock, it's been 30 years since I last talked to you. Just wondering how you've been doing and, how have things been since, it all went down.
It's been okay. I've been just doing my job. I make sure that the packages get to where they need to get to. If the moths get lost, I find them. I take them back where they get to go. Packages arrive on time. That's my job. That's my lot. I do it. So things are going pretty great. I'm enjoying it. I like what I do, and I do it well, I think.
Very nice. All right, Velra, question for Ponderosa.
So, Ponderosa, I gotta know, do you think that the moths are as beautiful as I do? I love them, and I'm wondering if you do too.
Oh, they're one of the most beautiful things around here. I mean, I guess I don't rank in my head. I mean, some things are pretty, some things are beautiful, but that's not necessarily better than the other. But your moths, they have such lustrous sheen on their wings. Their antenna look like they're so tasty, but like in kind of like I wouldn't actually eat them kind of way. Yeah, they're just. I mean, I think I see them as less of a vehicle of commerce or communication as you do. I don't see them as functions of a job. I see them as just kind of specks in the world that are just kind of fascinating to watch.
Ponderosa for Mildred.
Mildred, how do you feel about the fact that I've decided you're my new parent?
Oh, honey. That makes me feel very good. Like, I like traveling with you. And, one of these days you're going to go off on your own, and I hope you'll think of me.
I'll think of everyone.
Wonderful. Edward, have you read Mildred's backstory? Because that's very poignant.
I have not.
That's beautiful then. We'll see if it comes up. And Mildred, a question for Cecil.
Cecil. Oh, hold on, I gotta write. I'm trying to take notes. Cecil, so what is it about me that makes you so uneasy?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily use the term uneasy, but it's more that, just your straightforward demeanor, you tend to maybe not beat around the bush as much as I would like. I understand there's something to be said about getting to the root of the matter. I'm all for it, but it's just, I don't know, not quite how I do things. Just different, that is all.
Cool. Now we're going to go back around the other way, but I will pause at this juncture to say that because we're all animal folk, insects are kind of cattle size. So as a moth tender, yes, Bella sends packages via moths, and they're not these teeny tiny moths carrying enormous packages. They're like, big sort of cattle sized moths. Yes, and as so there's a shepherd playbook as well. So the bumbles are like big, kind of cow sized. So all the insects are like, imagine them as sort of the pets and animals in our world.
That's not terrifying.
No.
They're cute and fluffy though. So I mean, it also is terrifying. And if you are terrified of bugs, if you don't like bugs, there is a version of the Wanderhome rules text that has all the bug pictures taken out for any insectophobes. And that's official content as well. So don't be put off by bugs if that's not your thing.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go back the other way and ask other questions. So Cecil, if you have a question for Mildred.
Yeah. Mildred, I'm just a humble bumble farmer, rancher, whatever you want to call it. I don't really worry about the details, but I'm just kind of curious, what made me trust you with my herd?
Oh, well, I know all the right herbs for poultices, and I definitely helped out a few times when, they had some bumble rashes, and I do love your herd.
Well, aside from myself, no one quite, helps out quite as much as yourself, so I appreciate it.
Lovely. Right, Mildred, back to Ponderosa.
So, Ponderosa, you youngin', why is it you don't believe in ghosts?
Oh boy. If I believed in ghosts, that would mean I would have to talk to a lot of them. And there's people that I've known that would be ghosts now that I don't want to talk to at all. So it's just better if I never die and if ghosts aren't real.
Fair enough. And Ponderosa for Velra.
So, I heard you call me something the other day, and it sounded really cute, but I didn't quite catch it. But what was that endearing nickname you gave me?
Oh, I was really hoping you didn't hear that. That's a little bit.
No, I love it.
I'm glad that you like it. I don't like. I kind of don't like being vulnerable, and if you know who I am, or if you know what I said, then I'm just kind of a little. But I mean, I called you a little cutie. That's what I said, and I stand by it. But I don't know. Now I'm a little embarrassed about it. But yeah, that's what I said.
No need to be embarrassed, but I will. If you ever say anything under your breath, I will always call it out because everything should be said out loud as possible.
I will keep that in mind when I am in your vicinity. Then.
Also, Velra for Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus, so I gotta know, I know what I love to do, and I know why I love what I do. But I'm curious, what is it about my job that so appeals to you?
Well, I guess it appeals to the earthy, mechanically crunchy part of me. I'm always trying to figure out things from how they work from a mechanical standpoint. I find that it's the most, I believe it's the most honest way to understand the world. We all are, to a certain extent, a kind of engine that fuels itself along, I suppose.
That is fit. There is a lot of logistics involved in what I do, so there's a lot to learn. So yeah, that's great. Glad to hear that.
Yep, anytime.
And Zacchaeus for Cecil.
Hey, Cecil. I gotta ask. I know it's a little awkward, but you know what I am. You know where I came from. I'm a little bit in the past, as much as in the present. There was one time I showed you something you didn't want to see, and just wanted to Just wanted to touch base on that. I know it's an open wound, but just
Well,
wanted to
yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. You know, it was a little bit shocking to me at first. You know, the pieces of your past that you've kept around. You know, the instruments that you used when you were off doing what it is that you do. It was a little bit jarring for a humble bumble farmer like myself, but you know, it's who you were, and it's a part of your history, and I think I've come to respect that. You know, it did shock me at first. I'm not used to seeing so much warlike implements in my day to day, but yeah.
Yeah, some of those things, you know, they're part of history.
Yep, especially part of your history, and that's something I really respect about you.
Well, it's not just yours, but not just mine, but ours. You know,
Show
we
enough.
we have to know strife before we know peace.
All right. Cool. So now our characters kind of have some nice connections to each other. Before we dive in, I'm going to go over the journeying tools. So these are also on your playbooks, I believe. So journeying tools are things that we can use at any time while we're journeying together. They're things like, let's do this instead. Do we want to? Where to next? What do you think? Hold on. No. And stepping away. So these are all things that you are very welcome and invited to do. If you're not sure, you know, if someone asks you a question, feel free to ask a question back or throw that question to the group. If you're not sure about something, let's do this instead. You can suggest something else. Hold on. Do we really want to? And you can always just say no. I don't want to do it. And again, stepping away. If you need to step away to go to the bathroom, if you need to step away, like, actually, I'm really not enjoying this game. All that is okay, right? Your emotional mental health is more important than playing this game. All right, so I will be your guide. We're going to create the place that we're going to wander through, and then we'll just kind of see where the journey takes us. You'll notice that there is sort of a token economy. There is a get a token whenever section and spend a token to section. And broadly speaking, you get tokens when you do something selfless or you inconvenience yourself, or do something that, perhaps your character inherently doesn't really want to. But also you get tokens for taking a nap or watching something beautiful, describing something beautiful to the group. So yes, please do that at any and all opportunities. And then you often spend tokens to find an easy way out, provide a solution to something. Also other things like ease someone's pain, if only for a moment, and ask a character to change fundamentally for the scene. I guess for an example for that, one character that I've played with, they really didn't like flying, but we knew that flying was the quickest way to get from A to B. And so we spent a token and sort of appealed to a certain part of their nature, and that happened. So that's one way that could work. And again, tokens are a donation incentive. So if you would like someone to have a token to spend for one of those things, that is something that you can do.
Cool.
All right, so now we are going to create the place that we are journeying through together. So first, I would like a volunteer.
I'll do it.
All right, I'm going to need a couple volunteers. So I saw an Edward and a Chris hand. So Edward will go first. I'm going to read out 6 words, and I want you to choose one.
Okay.
These are the words that are locations within the place that we're going to travel to today. So we're going farm, garden, market, monastery, tavern, workshop.
Farm.
Farm. Okay, I'll write that down. And we will create together what this film looks like. All right, Chris, it's 6 words for you. Field, glen, hallow, hillock, lagoon, and swamp.
Let's do field.
Field. Who wants to be the third volunteer?
I will.
Dane. All right, Dane, here are your 6 words. Bridge, island, lake, port, road, tower.
Lake.
All right. So the place that we're journeying through, 3 points of interest that we're going to visit today, may have other things around it that we can totally just narratively improvise. But it has a farm, a field, and a lake, at the very least. So, a farm is a place where people live unremarkable lives deeply rooted in the turning of the seasons and the work that must be done. So this place can always, so these are things that I can do or any of you can do as your characters or as just by the nature of the place. This place can always describe the calm mundanity of everyday life, reveal the thin margins people live on, and ask, hey, want to help out? And you get a token if you pitch in whatever way that you can.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Let's go build a barn.
Yeah, if you want to.
That sounds great.
So, Zoob and Pierce and Pilchard, or as players, I'm going to list out a couple of aesthetic elements, and I want you to pick one each that appeals to you.
Okay.
So
Let's
we
go
have,
first.
or yeah, you can just either pick it out. You know, which if something immediately jumps out to you, feel free to grab it.
Okay.
So the aesthetic elements are rapscallions and merrymakers, crops as far as the eye can see, peaceful livestock, rusty, overgrown weapons of war, a house you once called home, a childhood hero who has lost their luster, or something else of your own invention.
I'm gonna go over the rusty weapons for the backstory.
Nice. Did any of those particularly jump out at you, Ellie?
I think he's asking you, Mild.
Oh, what? Anything jump out at me about
Yeah,
that?
any of those aesthetic elements, or you can make up your own.
I like the hero that we shouldn't have met.
Childhood hero who's lost their luster.
Yeah.
Yeah, never meet new heroes. All right, and finally, we pick a folklore about this place. I'm going to throw it to Dane because you're a farmer, and I think this it suits nicely. So you choose one folklore about this place. The options are the scarecrow that walked away, the rain of 100 days, the apple girl and her loving parents, or something of your own invention.
Oh man, those are all good.
Hmm.
I think Scarecrow that walked away is kind of the one that's grabbing me.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully not.
That's true. You know, they say if you're not good, it comes for you in the night.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to do a field. Chris and Edward, you're going to pick the aesthetic elements for this one. So a field is a place to lie back, feel the breeze on your fur, and look up at the sky. This place can always describe a gentle place to rest, show someone looking for something lost, ask, can we look at the clouds together? And you get a token if they say yes. So the aesthetic elements that you can choose from are rustling grass, a babbling brook, a solitary tree, wild plants and herbs, mossy boulders, a familiar shepherd and their flock, or something else of your own invention.
I like a solitary tree.
I'm gonna go for mossy boulders.
And Zoob, you're going to pick the folklore for this place. So these are your options.
Mm-hmm.
The lucky shepherd's friend, the barrow ghosts, the dance of the flower goddess, or something else of your own invention.
I think the Barrow Ghost would tie well to Mildred and the adamant rejection of the supernatural by Ponderosa.
Very nice. Okay. And and finally we had a lake. So a lake is a vast body of water that spans an overwhelming distance. This place can always describe the beauty of the water, wash something strange up on shore, and bring someone somewhere completely unexpected and give them a token. So Mildred and Dane, you're going to choose the aesthetic elements for this one. We've got huge churning waves, sandy coastline, flotsam and jetsam, striders darting across the surface, barnacle-covered rocks, a nearby vessel you weren't expecting to see, or something else of your own invention.
I like the flotsam and jetsam. I like picking up random things.
And for me, I think I really like the, I don't remember the word you used, but the things darting across the water.
Striders.
Yeah.
Striders.
So are water skeeters like dog-sized in this world?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably much larger than striders in our world, but they could be, if you want to ride them, cool, they're riding them size now.
But so like when there's striders darting across the water, they're like big.
They're making the churning waves.
Yeah.
Wow. Some people have jet skis. We've got striders.
I think that's the first big insect that I've heard that I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And if it gets too, we don't have to go into it.
That was fine.
No.
And for the folklore of this place, I'm going to say, Chris, you're going to pick this one.
Okay.
So your options are the Kraken from the deep, the salmon with 3 wishes, or the hubris of the warthog captain, or something of your own invention.
What? I think I like the hubris of the warthog captain.
That one's
You
pretty
gotta go.
Powerful.
But that was
You gotta
tough
go for the warthog captain.
That was tough between that and the Kraken, though.
Yeah.
Those both sound
Yeah.
pretty exciting.
Maybe that was the hubris of the
Oh,
warthog
maybe.
captain.
Yeah, seriously. Why not both?
It's just like, it's just like this old Captain Ahab of a warthog, just like, yes, it's out in the waves.
That sounds awesome. Can we do that?
Absolutely. So the hubris of the warthog captain.
Chasing the Kraken.
What pronouns does this warthog captain use?
It's she, her.
Yeah.
Here. And her rivalry with the Kraken. Excellent. Cool. That's exciting. All right. So, the last thing that this place needs is a name. What is this place called? There's a farm, a field, and a lake. With a kraken and a scarecrow that walked away, some ghosts.
It's a really
Weeds and
dynamic
boulders.
terrain.
I think Loch Lively.
Loch Lively.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great name. Loch Lively. So, the 5 of you are entering Loch Lively. There are many different tales about this place. There seems quite a juxtaposition between the everydayness of the farm and the field and the lake and the various things that you can see, and the many tales about this place. Whether true or not, perhaps you'll run into some. But I want to know, Ponderosa, what are you most excited about to see in Loch Lively?
I think I've heard of this farm and all of the different. While it's not necessarily a rich place, it's a place of it has a place of lots of like very good natural goods that are produced. I think maybe this farm has a reputation for producing like really good apples or something, or perhaps like the biggest squash in not necessarily Loch Lively, but just like kind of the other adjacent areas. And so I think Ponderosa, he's just like super into going in and just like getting involved and asking how they grow these things.
Sure, yeah. So you can run up. There are a number of different farms dotted around Loch Lively. And immediately keeping your eyes out for the lush red of apples. You see an apple orchard, and sort of halfway up a ladder, getting closer to the top, you see a froggy animal folk climbing up with the big basket around the side, reaching up to grab some apples, plucking them down, having a look, and this is the first apple of the harvest, and the frog sees you, or this particular frog's harvest sees you, and calls in, "Hey kid, do you like apples?"
Do I like apples? I love apples. I like anything I can just crunch into and just experience a rush of sweetness and moisture. Just like apples are the best, and these look amazing. Can I do something to get one of these apples from you?
Yes, see, there's a branch just up there. This ladder. I've had it for a while, and as I've gotten older, I've hunched over a little bit. I can't quite reach those ones at the top, but if you climb on my shoulders, I think we'll be able to reach. What do you think?
I could definitely try that. Depending on how it goes, you could also climb on my shoulders. I don't know. Whoever's, I guess it's a comparison of acrobatics versus strength. I don't know. I'm kind of okay at both. So like I can climb pretty well, but also I can hold things up. But we'll try it your way first. That sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
And I try to like scramble up this frog with like I imagine my torso is much longer than his torso, so it's kind of just like a weird clamber. And then I kind of just reach up to see if I can get the top apple.
What is everyone else thinking as this is happening? Especially Mildred, your sort of pseudo child, jumping up.
What are you again, Ponderosa?
I'm a Martin.
Okay, got it.
I put a picture in the chat.
Yeah, I saw. That is super cute. I think he's got a, good balance. I'm not too afraid of. I'm more afraid that he might scratch the frog a little too hard.
Well, if need be, I've got this here shepherd's crook. I don't know how much help it might be, but maybe you could, snag the apple. I could lift it up there if you got an interest, Ponderosa.
Oh, there you go.
Or that would be great to give me an extra like 3 feet to hook this branch down.
Oh, there you go. Well, try to get it on up there.
So now I'm doing this thing of like trying to bend over while on someone's shoulders to pick up a stick and then like.
Or he could like bend down on his knees and hand it up to you.
The frog just like, okay.
Carrying you. Alright. And Zub and Zacchaeus, how well does it go?
Well, I think there's some titter-tottering. The rambunctiousness of youth makes him a little too overeager. He still has the dexterity of youth, so he manages to catch himself at various intervals. But there is kind of like a dynamic, kind of Don Bluth-esque situation where you see Cecil kind of like on with the shepherd's crook, kind of like dynamically like moving around, while Ponderosa is like desperately reaching out. I'm just there, like one of those.
I can smell it. I can smell like that warm apple smell, and like it's just out of reach.
Yeah.
All right, but you do, I'll say, manage to kind of hook the branch, and you're able to, with one hand, grab the apples and kind of drop them down into the basket. The frog is very grateful as you scramble down and return the crook to Cecil. And as you all kind of settle back on the ground again, the frog kind of comes over to you now with this basket with a couple apples in it from the higher up branches and says, well, here you go, as promised, and hands an apple to Ponderosa. and then sort of shows the basket to everyone else and says, the first ones are the best. You're gonna want to try these.
Oh, are you sure? We wouldn't want to deprive you and yours.
I've got plenty more, and I've had many firsts, but
Much
I don't
obliged.
trust you folks around, so give it a try.
Cecil, go ahead and grab one.
Thank you.
We've
Thank
got
you.
a token for Mildred, by the way.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh.
Nice.
there
There is
is-
a token, and Cecil and Ponderosa will get tokens for helping the frog.
Good job. There is a moment of supreme hesitation as a flash of suspiciousness flashes across the old grizzled raccoon's face, whose face is scarred up. But it's still fairly handsome as a trait. And then he hesitantly pulls out an apple.
I think my hand was already on an apple when Cecil said, like, "Oh, we don't want to deprive you of your first apple." And so he has a moment of like, "Oh shoot! Like this was a rude thing. You did a rude thing again, Ponderosa."
Oh.
But then like kind of still takes it because he already did the thing. So he's kind of like, he does give a gracious thank you, and I think immediately just crunches in.
Yeah, I picture us eating like in Fantastic Mr. Fox, where it's like still animals. Oh, delicious.
Cheeks full.
Oh.
Does Velra take an apple?
Yeah, he's actually really excited to grab an apple. He's heard about this farm, seeing the amount of packages that come from that place. He's never actually had to go there to pick up any packages, but he sees that they export a lot, so he knows that it's got to be good. So he's actually really, really excited to get there, but he tries to kind of play it off kind of cool. So he calmly just grabs one and starts eating it, and he can tell, yeah, there's a reason why these guys ship out so many apples.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the frog kind of waves. He says, "Well, got more apples to grab, but thank you for your help. There's that high branch always gets me." And climbs back up the ladder and starts pulling down more of the apples. And you can see further down into the orchard there are a number of other froggy folks of various stripes and spots and colors. And it looks like, there's a big effort this morning to start pulling down the apples.
Mm-hmm.
I think
So
Cecil
as you're
kind of
Sorry,
tip his old-fashioned hat and be like, "Much obliged. Take care now."
waves you off. And as you sort of continue into the town, what catches your eye, Zacchaeus, as you're leaving this frog's home, which is right next to the orchard, is you see kind of there's like crates and of like hose and like some other ladders and shears and things, and you notice sort of all tossed into the same kind of basket are a number of sort of familiar weapons of war, but these are sort of very rusted over. There's grass sort of growing up around it, and looks like a tomato plant is kind of curled down over the blade. But yeah, that just kind of catches your eye. What's the Zacchaeus' kind of gut reaction?
His is more of a sense of fascination and a little bit of nostalgia. I'm assuming in this world it'd be mostly like, swords and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he sees a particularly rusted falchion. I remember those days. Could never wield one of those things right. The balance, it was always a little off, managed to do it, might not be able to do it now, and he kind of like wanders off on a tale of glory of old glory on the field, and they were my closest friends. I would call them brothers. I guess in a sense we're all brothers in a sort of way, brothers and sisters and some such and other. Lights up a cigarette. Looks like we got a scythe in here too. Starts kind of poking around.
Well, they say that family's always important, and sometimes that family's related to you, and other times it's found family. But at the very end of the day, as long as you got someone to watch your back, I think that's nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep. Stress breeds all sorts of kinships you wouldn't get otherwise.
Tokens for everyone.
Oh, thank you.
You get a token.
Oh.
You get a token. Everyone gets a token. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
We got over here.
I want to know, Zara, do you have any packages that you need to deliver here? Are you gonna pick up any packages?
I do have what do I have? I gotta check my bag real quick to see if I have any packages to be delivered here, and I believe that I do. I'm not quite sure what this is or what the meaning of it is for, but I know that I have a letter from the King of the Floating Mountain for the proper mayor of this area, and so I guess I will go deliver that.
Can you describe what this letter looks like? Does it have any sort of stamp? Is a smell? What's this letter like?
Sure. So I'm used to normally seeing, most of the letters we deliver that most people aren't given the most like elaborate kind of things. I mean, we're all still kind of rebuilding, but this one, I mean, it's got nice, clean envelope. There's no tears on it. There's no stains. There's a wax seal. It's a golden color. It's beautiful. And it's not as heavy as I would have expected it to be. I obviously can't read what the letter says. That would be a violation of doing my job to read what they say. But I do know that usually when the king sends out letters, they're usually pretty heavy, couple pages. This one feels like it's maybe one or two, so it's small, pretty to the point. I'd imagine that probably means that there's not a lot of beating around the bush or any kind of like courtesy in this letter. It's very, you need to be here now.
Is this something that we might all know about, or are you kind of keeping it close to the chest?
I know that it's from what I've heard, the king did very specifically say this was for the proper mayor of this area, and so I'm guessing. I try not to get involved in politics too much, but from what I imagine, from how he put so much emphasis on the word proper, I'm guessing that means that this is probably someone who is maybe in hiding or maybe trying to overthrow whoever is currently the mayor of this area. And so I think that I'm going to have to find him.
He might just know how to lay a good cutlery.
Well, and shoot, I think it's pretty incredible. I've never met somebody who's met royalty before. Kind of feel like I'm standing next to the king,
I wouldn't feel, I get that, and I totally understand. I felt that way the first couple times too. But one thing that I found really interesting about this job, what I've discovered over time, is people are people, animals are animals. We're all built the same at the end of the day. So the king, he's fancy. He's got a fancy place to live. He's a nice guy, but at the end of the day, he's no different than any one of us. So like. I can understand where you'd get starstruck, but what I'd say is they're not really all that cracked up to be. They're pretty cool guy, he's pretty cool, but he's still a guy. There's no need to get nervous about it.
I think Ponderosa really takes a shine to that. One of his things is that he does not trust authority figures, and so I think the fact that he would definitely not appreciate the wondrousness of a king. And so I think he kind of wants that letter now too, because he's just to get in on this, whatever secret is going on. But yeah, he kind of likes that he doesn't really hold the king up in too high esteem.
Yeah. I got an accommodation from the last king. He seemed pretty nice. Didn't turn out his way in the end, as you can tell, but it is what it is.
I mean, that's such is life, I suppose, or lack thereof in that king's case.
It's part of life, ending it. Well,
Important part of the cycle. Mildred, I have a question for you. What story have you heard about the king of the floating mountain, who sent this letter? What story have you heard that can't possibly be true?
Oh, I heard that there's some witchy stuff that goes on in his cabinet, and I don't think it's said that he didn't really get his position in a completely natural way. There's tell of some occult leanings. I don't know if it's true, but it's what I heard.
So you think that maybe he might be one of them there, what you call it, sorcerers, or
May not be
magic
him.
folk?
May not be him himself, but he's got some friends around him that are pretty powerful.
Whee.
more than one way to maintain the throne, I suppose.
Even more reason of why I take so seriously not opening these packages. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna know that I opened it, and if what you say is true, I do not want to get on the wrong side of this guy. Then,
Well, that and the whole army he's got control of, so
that's fair too. I would like to think that he wouldn't send a whole army after me, but I don't know. Maybe I have a very intimidating air about me. I could probably take a couple guys at least. So
Armies are slow. If you're fast, you don't have to worry about them.
that's true, and I can fly. So
I knew a guy that could fly in the army. Just saying.
Carrier pigeon.
You could say that. He was a warbird.
Nice.
All right. So as you're entering into the town and keeping an eye out for this proper mayor, whatever proper
That
is
means.
supposed to mean, many different ways that you could interpret that word. You come towards sort of a large, just sort of fielded area. It seems to be perhaps just a community area, just greenery. You can see some animal folk are walking their pet ants, and there's some bumbles are kind of buzzing around. Seems to be sort of free space. And Cecil is a shepherd, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, firstly, I want to know what the names of all your bumbles are.
Of course.
And secondly, how they react to other bumbles being around.
Well, the bumbles that I can always distinctly find from my herd, we got the youngest bumble, Bartholomew. He's always constantly underfoot, very cheerful, kind of raucous. He's just a young, and he's learning the ways of bumbleness, you could say. We got the biggest bumble, Matilda. She allows me to ride her from time to time. We kind of, have a good relationship, a good understanding. She knows I'm going to take care of her and not encroach too much, but she's pretty gentle, even though she's kind of large. They're very sturdy, you could say, or mighty. You might use that word to describe her. The cutest bumble in my herd, who absolutely adores head pats, that would be little Layla Bell. They're very friendly and very cunning, very sharp, much more attuned to the world even than I am, which sounds crazy when I'm talking about a bumble, but they know things. Though the luckiest bumble I've ever had, very adventurous, very miraculous, has done things that I have never even considered, would have to be Mary the bumble. Very lucky, very adventurous. And then the last bumble that I can kind of pick out from my own herd is not very remarkable, just kind of a normal bumble, nothing really special, but still kind of my favorite. Very, very chill and a kind of a quietness to them. They snuggle up next to me when I'm thinking, and we just kind of share a moment, and that would be Wendy the bumble.
Amazing.
yeah, I'll kind of point them out. They're kind of, that's that one, and that's that one.
Ponderosa does not have the attention span to listen to any of that, but he has on his own probably like met all those bumbles. So.
And I think as far as reacting to other bumbles, I think they'd probably be pretty keen to it, though, as long as the other bumbles were respectful, of course. Some of them are a little bit larger, a little bit smaller, but they're going to defend their own, and they don't take kind of any rudeness that might happen. But as long as the other bumbles are willing to play nice and kind of live and let live, I think they'd be amenable to it.
And as you know, of course, bumbles have their own language, their own buzzing language, which you can hear sort of pick up as the two herds get a bit closer to each other. These bumbles seem to just be sort of free roaming. You don't know if there's a particular shepherd that looks out for these ones, or perhaps if a bumble, one of the bumbles himself is in charge.
Ain't that a sight? Bumbles just living their best bumble life. Brings a tear to my eye.
All right. And Mildred, as you kind of enter this field and you're kind of walking around and seeing the bumbles, what does it feel like? So you have the ghost of your partner or husband that follows with you. What does that feel like? Is there a physical sensation that lets you know that he's about to say something?
Yeah, there's like kind of an electrical, just like when you kind of know somebody is looking at you or hovering nearby. It's like that, but I guess a moth is too big, but like a little gnat or something, an aphid, and it's just kind of goes back and forth. And so if it like gets distracted by something, and it's a little ways away, I can feel it, and Mildred stops and waits for it to catch up.
Cool. So you kind of have like this sort of electric sense that kind of lets you know where the ghost is in relation to you. So how do you react when you feel a second electrical charge in this field, and where is it coming from?
She looks around, and maybe there's like a cemetery nearby. And I see where are my ghost things? Oh, just like a orb of light, just kind of pulsing at the edge of the cemetery, like gate. It doesn't feel scary, but it definitely feels kind of sad. Mildred tugs on Ponderosa and points it out. Do you see that?
The light?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the ghosts.
Nah.
Immediate.
Just turns around and walks away.
Wow.
I just look.
What do Rosa think it is?
Light.
I see, like, Ponderosa definitely like understands there's supernatural and magic in the world, and that kind of like is really interesting to him, and he kind of loves to interact with that. It's just like he doesn't like the idea that there are sentient people from this world, that there are actual spirits who are them. If there are spirits in this world for Ponderosa, it's not a ghost. It's more just like an essence or an energy. It's not like a person who was that person who's going to talk to you and like reprimand you and call you accountable for all the stuff you did or didn't do. And so I think he's just like, he just kind of sees it as like the energy of the fall of the past, of the departed, kind of just manifesting in a really beautiful way, but not necessarily a ghost.
An echo in time, if you will.
Right. I think Ponderosa thinks back to all the war stories that Zacchaeus was telling that he wasn't listening to because they were too long, they were too long and rambly. but he kind of caught like every fifth word, and so he just kind of gets the feeling like there is. I don't want to. It's not an oppressive pall. It's just more like a richness in the ground, in the buildings here, of just a lot of people who have died, and that could just be not necessarily like a scary thing, but just kind of like a interesting thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have this orb that is in the cemetery next to the fields. It's quite a beautiful cemetery. Lots of trees are guarding the edges, and flowers laying on a lot of graves. And some of the beings in the land of Haith are these small and forgotten gods. So very often, they can be physically very small. And as you're perhaps having a look at this orb, Ponderosa, there is a leaf that seems to blow through the cemetery, and there is no wind. And there's just a leaf that goes around.
I'm gonna try to catch it, not like crunching it, but kind of like I would a moth in this world, like or a firefly.
Okay, so you got to catch it, and somehow it slips out of your hand. It's dancing around your hands a little bit.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and this is in the cemetery.
Just outside, like right at the gate.
Okay, I'm gonna go in, but before I go in, I'm gonna dig a small divot on the threshold and put my apple core in it, and then kind of cover it up as kind of like a small acknowledgement of this this spiritual energy going around, or if this is one of these small gods that I may or may not have interacted with.
You can get a token for that.
And cool, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go and try to see if I guess he's very in tune with things like this. He believes in these small gods and different forces in the world. So just not go specifically. And he goes in and probably sees if this leaf is trying to lead him somewhere.
Sure. Yeah. This leaf kind of again sort of meets you where you enter the cemetery. It seems to sort of be ambling about, floating in front of you. Yeah, and you can follow it, and it seems to sort of amble through the cemetery, and finally it just sort of lands on the ground a little ways in front of you. It's a green leaf. It's about this big. It's not very large. You could easily catch it like a human would a moth. And as you step up towards it, it sort of flicks up in the air again and comes to hover right at your face height. And at that point, you feel a wind blow past you, but the leaf does not move. And instead, you hear somehow it is this being asking you, and it asks, "What about the past are you afraid of?" And if you want to lie, you're going to need to spend a token.
Oh, I don't. Ooh. Is this going to be out loud?
That's the invitation, but you can interpret it how you like. If it's out loud, I would invite one of the other four to overhear it.
Right.
Can I spend a token to kind of help him along with coming to terms with what he's seeing right now?
That's a question for Edward. Maybe Edward, you can see where you're landing, and then take Chris up on it if you want to.
Yeah, I think that would. Yeah, I think Ponderosa is very much at this, like, it is kind of at a crossroads with this. So I think anyone beside him would probably be more like he's on a cliff. He needs a push.
So and Valra would walk up to him and would say, you know, Ponderosa, I was never really one for a lot of this kind of hocus pocus mumbo jumbo kind of stuff. I think it's there, but I don't know how much of it I believe in and how much I don't. But you know, I gotta say, looking at what's going on, I've been watching kind of from just outside and kind of watching it and see you look a little bit nervous, and I just want to tell you, you know, I'm here for you. I see what's going on too. And I think I'm kind of starting to come along too, that maybe there's something to all this that everybody's been talking about.
And I think Potter just kind of just like has his head down for a bit, and it's kind of just for a bit of a moment too long, and then he kind of just suddenly just blurts out, he's like, "I'm afraid that I'm never gonna be able to make up for what I did."
And the leaf kind of floats up again, and it kind of comes past, almost like a light kiss on the cheek, and disappears somewhere into the cemetery.
At this point, yeah, like that little kiss, and then Ponderosa is just like, he's just like, oh, now like he's always on the verge of some very intense emotion, but like now he's just like he's on the verge of basically just not breaking down, but just like having a good cry. And so I think he kind of just like, well, I don't know. Would he would he turn around and like just lean right on your shoulder, or would he kind of scramble away and find a corner? I think since you spent that token, I think you can decide.
Yeah, I think that he can lean on me. You know, and I'd tell him about you know, back during the war. You know, we moth tenders, I mean, we kind of had to pick sides, and so I understand what you mean about the past and being kind of uneasy about it and coming to terms with things. You know, there were some thoughts that I had then where there were a few times where I almost went to the other side because it was looking like it was a safer bet. I lost a lot of my friends that way, you know, because I mean, things get delivered, they move things around. We say that we're not taking sides, you know, that we're just a service that just goes through the world and we just do what we're supposed to do. But I mean, you kind of do, you know. So I understand where you're coming from. I don't know what you're feeling, but I understand it, and I want you to know that.
Yeah, and I think Wanderhome has like it's not weeping. It's just kind of like a good like 20-second cry. And then that immediate like endorphin rush afterwards, which he kind of like transmutes into like movement energy, and kind of he thanks, and then he kind of thanks you and kind of like gives a small hug, and then he like needs to go move and do something, and so he kind of starts running around, looking for like other little leaves in the cemetery and kind of touching each gravestone to give a small respect, and then needs to like leave.
Lovely. Zacchaeus, what have you been up to in this field? So this field, you know, has some bumbles, various other insect folk. There's a couple of local folks around, a solitary tree, mossy boulders. What's grabbing your attention right now?
Honestly, he's probably still in the weapon patch, kind of like you know, determining things, and is kind of like babbling off like statistics of like well, this is a hand and a half, this is a two, this is a double-handed, blah blah blah. Like anyone that was listen, oh, this particular guy in this particular field did this particular thing with this particular item.
Yeah, there's this little froggy child who is sort of sitting there listening to you. And you're like listing out all these stats about, there's a handful of things, and like you're talking about, and things that are there and things that you've seen like it, and like all these sort of iterations of all these weapons that you're familiar with. And this froggy child's like, really wide eyes looking at you. You can see they've got like a little pile of small apples, and they're just like, watching you, and yeah, sometimes they pipe up questions and like, hand and a half. Whose hand? Your hand's really big and my hand's really small.
Well, hand and a half is relative to the span of the king at the time. That's how we normally address those measurements. That's where the measurement of king's hand comes from.
Oh, the kings.
Yeah. I mean,
Why do you know so much about all the pointy stuff?
I was there all those years ago. He like takes another cigarette out of his pack. He has
My mom
literally a
says
pack
that
of smokes.
actually-
All things come to an end someday.
I know that because sometimes we have to get the apples down from the tree and then it's over. And then that's the end.
But the end is someone else's beginning sometimes, you know. Just because that apple doesn't survive doesn't mean something else can't grow from it.
Yeah, like, this one has a worm in it.
Yeah, there you go. That worm, it's eaten. That worm
Yeah.
is alive. That apple, not so much, you know. Some things,
I mean, the apple's still sort of alive, but I can't eat it.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's not available to you. But what I mean is, you know, some things need to give up parts of themselves in order that others can go on, you know?
We have to share.
Yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it. He looks a little... He kind of does like a 1,000-yard stare, and you can kind of like hear like elements of... Like if you're doing like a cinematic experience, you kind of hear like shouts and cries and things blowing up in the background in his head, and then he kind of like goes back and takes another long drag from his smoke.
In one of
Yeah,
your
I guess
stories, you were saying that that you had like some brothers and things, and then they were gone. Do you want to take this worm to be your friend?
I still got friends left. I appreciate that. I pick it up because I mean he's a little kid. And you know,
You have
No.
to name him and give him lots of little head pats. And when he's finished with this apple, you could give him another apple, or maybe he would like a different thing. So you just have to ask.
yeah. Well, there's a moment where the raccoon's face kind of twists a little bit. Reggie.
Is that the worm's name?
His
That's
name
a
is
good name.
Reggie. Thank
That's a
you.
good name. Is it short for anything, or is it just Reggie?
There's another moment where like you kind of see his eyes soften a little bit. I never got the chance to ask.
And the kid kind of gets up and he like hugs your leg a little bit and says, "Okay, now this is ending. Bye."
Okay,
Wave him
Ponderosa.
off.
I have to pick more apples now.
Have fun, kid. Enjoy it while it lasts.
And sort of like leaps off, goes back into the orchard to pick some more apples from the lower branches. So now you have an apple with a worm on it. How do you plan on carrying this? Are you just gonna like hold it in your hand the whole time? Do you have a plan?
Well, let's see what I have for equipment. Because I hope I have a satchel or something.
Yeah, you can, if it's not explicit, you can just be like, "I have this now." It's not.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
He has a little like side satchel that he uses for rations and stuff like that. Old habits die hard, as it were. So, you know, he kind of slinks it off to the side. Oh, Reggie, you're here with me in spirit, I guess.
Speaking of spirits, Mildred, your aphid husband, aphid formed husband, How is that spirit reacting to the cemetery or anything else that's happening in the field?
Maybe it's kind of like doing one of those, like a dog going to me and then over towards the cemetery and then to me and over towards the cemetery, trying to get me to follow. And I waddle over. All right. I guess there's no harm in talking to it. And maybe she goes over to the orb, and can I spend a token to, like, well, she senses that, or I sense that it's a painful, sad feeling coming from it, and she kind of like puts her hands around it. I want to spend a token to ease its pain.
For sure. Dane, I'd like you to describe what painful memory flashes across Mildred's consciousness as she eases this pain.
I think I feel suddenly hungry.
So, yeah, you can go
go
ahead. I did invite Dane to
Oh,
say
sorry,
it,
Dane. I didn't hear.
No, I don't mind.
If you've got one to go.
Yeah, if you've got one, it's fine. I can...
Oh, no, it's good.
Okay.
Do it.
Let's see. So you started out with hungry. I'm going to try to play off of that. I think this is a spirit of someone who grew up in this town and who maybe was involved in food of some sort, creating food, cook, a chef, maybe a farmer, somebody who farmed maybe apples, perhaps. But I think that they had a love who maybe left and for whatever reason never came back. And so I think as a sort of testament to them, every year they would bake this person's, this being's favorite food or dessert or some sort of a testament to them as a memory, which might explain that hunger that you're feeling. The desire to share a meal with this person one last time, but they never got to.
But yeah, this memory sort of flashes across your memory, Mildred, as you kind of gently. How do you tend to interact with spirits? Is it a verbal? Is it sort of mental? Is it physical?
I talk to mine, but I think with the other ones, it's just like reaching a hand out, kind of like tentative, like when you have a dog sniff your hand, and it's like a way of asking its permission to, I guess, sense what it's feeling.
Yeah, the orb doesn't pull away at all, and it sort of almost sends out this memory to you, and it seems this spirit, spirits can present in many different ways. Sometimes they're just the continuation of someone's life in a new form, but this particular spirit kind of seems stuck. They're stuck in a particular form. They seem to be stuck right here near the cemetery, and they seem to be stuck in this memory. But yes, you kind of are able to sort of pause the memory at the place right as they're remembering the last meal that they had with this person, and they're able to sort of exist in that portion of the memory before it continues to them leaving and all the days after that. So you're able to ease their pain if only for a time. And I don't know how's Ponderosa coming down after that, after letting out that.
Yeah, I think they after kind of like having that nervous energy, I think they're kind of just watching what Mildred's doing. And Mildred, with this orb, and I think they're kind of just like watching a little furtively from maybe behind, kind of like peeking over a tombstone. I think they're fascinated by this, but also a little scared of it. So they're kind of just like, but they trust Mildred too. So that I think he's just kind of watching just a little suspiciously, but enraptured, I guess.
Mildred, do you notice Ponderosa kind of peeking?
I don't think so. I think I'm in my own world, and I think I share my own memory of a time when like pulling bread out of the oven because it feels very sated. So a way to like give them the memory of feeling heavy and full and comfortable.
Lovely. I want to give you a token for sharing a memory back
Oh, yay.
with the with the spirit there. Also, I kind of forgot, but like you can, as players, you can give tokens to each other and
cool.
say, "Oh, I think I should get a token for this as well." Apologies for not having said that earlier. All right, so you've kind of explored this field, then these weapons areas. So Zacchaeus, you're kind of leaving the farm area now. Are you going in any particular direction? And we'll ask that question first.
Well, I've been, I'm just wondering where the rest of the group is at this point. Got kind of brought back in time. I should probably get back to the present, so to speak.
You just kept like wandering from sword to sword, and now you're like, where am I? Where am I?
Yeah, exactly. It's very much that. Like, oh, right, I'm in this area that I've never been to before. So yeah, where's the rest of the party? That's kind of what he's thinking right now. And he's kind of waddling. His leg don't work so good anymore. So he's kind of like hobbling back to the rest of the group. Sees the cemetery in the distance. Takes a moment to kind of take that all in. His thoughts kind of return to some of the names that he could have named the worm, but Reggie was the first one that came to mind. And ends up, I guess, seeing this rambunctious rapscallion running around. That being Ponderosa.
So you've caught up and you're sort of all together now. And I want to say... So Bartholomew is your smallest bumble, Cecil. And it's about at this point, they're kind of all the bumbles are kind of mixing and interacting together. You notice you can't see Bartholomew right now.
Problem, he's usually underfoot. He's usually stuck to someone like glue. That's kind of odd. I'd probably try to go and investigate maybe a little bit further. Try to, dig through the bumbles, as it were.
So these very, very fluffy bumbles that they seem to be deep in conversation about something as you're kind of pushing through, having a little look. Some of your own bumbles, some of these this wild bumble crew, getting mildly distracted by the cat. You see up in there's one sort of tree nearby, and you see up in this solitary tree what looks like a cat child is up about halfway up the tree, now that you're closer, you can hear it mewing, but sort of the conversational buzz of the bumbles, it was kind of drowning it out. And they seem to be in a little bit of distress, and you can see Bartholomew's kind of buzzing around the tree and around trying to.
I think he sees it go ahead and walk on up to Bartholomew, kind of pat him on his little bumble head, and thank him for a job well done finding this this distressed child, and kind of look up and go, "Hey, pardon if I'm intruding, but it looks like you might need a helping hand or some such. Is that the case?"
Yes, if you want me to help me defeat the evil Burninator.
Ooh. Evil Burninator, that sounds like a mighty...
Burn down my tree palace.
Burn down your tree palace? Well, we can't have that now, can we?
No.
Well, I'm at your service, my liege. Are you the ruler of these here parts?
No, actually, I am a forest guardian.
Oh, forest guardian.
You can call me Maisie.
Maisie, pleasure to meet you. My name is Cecil, and I'm at your service.
Thank you. The proper way to bow, actually, you have to open your arms like this.
Oh.
And the bow all the way down. Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Of course. I don't mean any disrespect. You know, I don't quite know your ways yet. I appreciate your patience.
That is okay. I will forgive you this once.
It's very gracious of you. Is there a title I should address you as? Forest Guardian? Is that?
No, just Maisie.
Just Maisie, as you wish. Well, how best to fight this evil Burninator feller?
Well, the Burninator likes spicy food, so we have to appease them with at least 3 different spicy things. I can only think of 1 spicy thing, so you have to think of the other 2.
Certainly. Do you want to go first? Shall I?
I thought of spicy chili hot chocolate.
Oh, that sounds mighty good.
Yes,
all
my
right.
mom makes it all the time.
Oh, your mom sounds like a heck of a cook. I can't even speak. I'm so excited about it. I reckon we could maybe do some sort of like stuffed pepper, like a really, really nice, hot, spicy pepper stuffed to the brim with maybe some different seasoned ingredients. You know, maybe some meat. If the Burninator's partial to meat type foods, or if not, then we could fill it with all sorts of onions and other spicy goodness.
Yes, that is acceptable.
Right. And then let's see. So we got a drink, and we got kind of a main course.
What about a dessert?
Yeah, we gotta have a dessert. I mean, you can't have dinner without dessert. That's just everybody knows that.
That's what my other mom says all the time.
Well, they're both right. So I would say for dessert, why don't we do some like, let's see here. It wasn't much. Maybe like a pie of some sort, don't you think? Maybe like a rhubarb pie or something.
If Ponderosa can help out,
please.
He can. I'll gotta go ahead and spend a token to solve a material aspect of a problem, and I'm gonna bring out a huge bushel of mint leaves I have on me. I'm like, just put these. Just eat these. They're like, it's like dessert, but like it's kind of, I guess, spicy, but like in a cool, but still a biting kind of way.
So not bringing the heat, but bringing the cold. I can dig it. That's a kind of a juxtaposition, maybe.
Yes, maybe. Can you do the proper bow?
Yes, got the proper bow. I can show you if you'd like, Ponderosa.
The bow?
Yeah, correct bow. Yes. You got to do it correctly. We don't want to insult the Forest Guardian Maisie here.
It's just Maisie, actually.
Oh, my apologies, Maisie.
I picked that name.
We got some tokens for people. We got a token for Dane and tokens for everyone.
Thanks.
And they wanted us to know that Cecil Fellow sure is mighty handsome.
Oh. well, shucks. That is mighty kind of you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. Helping cats is a wonderful goal.
And Josh finally answered me, so Zoob gets one.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, Josh.
Speaking of cats, you have to do the proper bow now.
That's true. if you want Ponderosa, I can show you how it goes. I can go first. I'm kind of a master at this now.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't usually like authority, so haven't practiced any bows.
Well, it's kind of tricky, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to put your arms out like so, like you're going to give someone a great big old hug, and then you got to bow at the waist as deep as you can go. That's a sign of respect. Oh, you're kind of there. You're kind of there.
That's
like-
acceptable.
I have a very long body between my arms and my legs, so it's kind of like if I go all the way down, it's almost like my chin is on the ground, kind of.
And then Maisie kind of hops down and says, yes, this is all acceptable. The Burninator will be very pleased.
Well, if the
I will
Burninator
take these offerings.
and Maisie are pleased, then we are pleased ourselves.
Good. Thank you. I'm going to go give our offerings to the Burninator now. You can come with me if you want.
Well, let me check with our fellows here just to make sure I'm not wandering off without letting them know where I'm going. But
Okay.
I'd find that agreeable if they do. By your leave, Maisie.
Yes, you may leave.
Wander back to the rest of the folk and kind of there's this adorable little girl Maisie was up in a tree. We helped her stop the Burninator like you do. We're gonna go feed the Burninator now. If y'all'd like to come with, I just wanted to make sure I was checking in.
I appreciate that, because hearing that, I think I'd really like to go. I'm kind of curious to hear what this kid has cooked up. Who's she gonna get? You said it's spicy food, right?
Oh yeah, the spiciest. But we got some mint in there for kind of a cool spicy. That was Ponderosa who did that. It was a great
I feel
idea.
like, first of all, I'm curious, but also I think we have a bit of a responsibility to make sure that this kid isn't giving this spicy food to some poor, unsuspecting, bug or something.
That's
Yeah.
a fair point.
I am all for going with you to go watch this kid.
If I'm being honest, to be real with y'all, I don't know if the Burninator technically exists or not. I'm not 100% on that. Could be a real person, could be something else. I don't know.
Either way, I
Well-
gotta see it.
Would be untoward to let a kid go by themselves to go see something called a Burninator.
That's true. How about yourself, Mildred? You
I'll come along as long as you don't make me eat that spicy food.
I don't think we're gonna force anything on you you don't want to try.
How spicy? Are we talking like imperial spicy?
Well, apparently the Burninator likes it as hot as it can get, so pretty spicy, I reckon. Though, to be honest, I'm kind of new to this whole Forest Guardian Maisie Burninator thing.
I was cooped up with a.
It's my first day, after all.
I haven't fully read all the background info on the Burniverse yet.
I'm waiting for the Disney adaptation.
I was cooked up with a bunch of foreign recruits a long time ago. They used to make the spiciest curry I've ever experienced in my life.
Woo.
Thing almost burned off half the side of my face. So,
That is spicy. Well, let's hope the Burninator can handle that heat.
shall we go then?
Let's do it. Let's
Okay,
mosey.
you all have to do the proper bow, though, when we get there.
That's true. That's true.
What was your name? Did you say before?
My name?
Yeah.
My name's Cecil. I did
Cecil,
mention
you
it
can
once.
show everyone how to do it properly.
Of course.
You
of course.
are the lead bower.
It's awfully kind of you, Maisie. So you like I showed Ponderosa, you stick your arms out like you're going to give someone a great big hug. You haven't seen them in a while. You're excited, and then instead of giving them a hug and bringing the arms in, you just keep them out and you bow at the waist, just kind of as low as you can go, as low as comfortable. Don't put yourself out too much. We don't want anyone to get hurt, but we want to show the proper respect to Maisie here.
It's not actually for me. We're practicing so we can do it for the Burninator.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Okay.
All right then.
Well, it's this way. And she leads you sort of deeper into the field. And you come towards a lake. And at the edge of the lake, she sort of starts just marching along around the side. And you can see striders sort of darting all around across the water. And there's sort of lots of shells and things all across the edge. And off to the side, there is what seems like a little collection of shells and bric-a-brac has been set off to the side. And on the top, there is a little smooth red stone of some sort. And Daisy walks up to the stone and says, "All hail the Burninator."
And we do our bow.
And she gets some sand and makes like a little mound of it. And she gets out, she has like strapped around one arm a little like flask of hot chili chocolate. And she opens a little like brown paper package. Looks like it has some biscuits and things. And she says, "Okay, everyone, we can sit down now. Did you bring your afternoon tea? Did your mum pack it for you? Or your dad, or your parent, or your uncle, or your grandpa, or your grandma, or your auntie, or your friend?"
I'd be packing our own things, I suspect.
Yep. We can share if you need some.
I have my afternoon tea. It's biscuits.
Perfect.
Well, you know what goes, in my experience, really well with afternoon tea is just a little bit of honey. I think that does a biscuit nice. So I think Cecil probably have a little jar collected maybe from one of the bumbles, and he'd be willing to share it.
Nice.
Lovely. So you sit down and have afternoon tea, and it becomes apparent that the Burninator is perhaps largely a figment of Maisie's imagination. She pours some of her hot chili chocolate on the little red stone and throws some of the mint leaves at it. And she sort of sculpts a bit of like sand and puts some water onto it to be the stuffed capsicum, and like throws that lightly at the red stone. And then sits down to just sort of eat, and sitting there. And she looks at all of you and says, "I didn't hear all of your names. I know Cecil." My head Laura.
I'm Mildred, honey.
Mildred,
You can
honey.
you can call me Val.
Val.
I'm Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus.
I'm Ponderosa.
Ponderosa. Cool. I'm Maisie.
Well met.
Yes, we did meet.
That's an expression, dear. That means it's nice to meet you.
Thank you. She's just kind of sitting there, kicking her feet in the lake.
Her little paws.
So, Maisie, when you're not appeasing the Burninator, what else do you get up to around here? Seem like you'd have mighty adventures in these parts.
Well, sometimes you have to just do it just very rightly, though. So, she kicks a stone or something. You have to always make sure that you tell your mums before you leave, and you always have to make sure that you take afternoon tea, and and then I just sort of do whatever. Yeah,
That sounds nice. Nice and free, adventurous, Kind of come and go as you please.
yeah. I like coming to the lake a lot and splashing with my feet.
It is nice. Feel the cool water. It's nothing like it.
Mhm.
Do you find yourself watching clouds much? You ever cloud watch?
Sometimes. Do you want to do that now?
I would love to do that now. It's one of my favorite things.
What shapes? You can get a token for that. And what shapes do you see?
Oh, you know what? You see that one? Kind of
Yeah.
squint your eyes and tilt your head just so. Kind of looks like a house. Kinda.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of looks like more like a cottage, really, but
Well, you know, what's a cottage but like a wood house, right?
yeah, I was.
Like a house you live in the woods, kind of. You know.
Yeah, I thought you meant like more like you know. I'm using my discerning trait now out of character. You know, when I think of a house, I think of it more like standard square type of deal. Cottages are a little bit more rounded and sloped. There's a bit of a thatching going on the roof.
Well, shoot. It's the case. I didn't know you were so well versed in different types of domiciles. That's I'm learning something new about you every day. That is really really nice.
Well, vocab multitudes. Not just a war veteran.
Of course not. Of course, I'd never put you in that box alone. I mean, you're a man of the world, and I appreciate that about you.
You did get to see some really interesting places when you were in there.
I believe it.
A lot of different houses, for sure. Kind of stares off in the distance.
Velra was kind of zoning out, looking at the clouds, and then realized what conversation is being had right now, and kind of perks up a little bit. Are we talking about houses, different kind of houses? Because let me tell you a little something about. I don't know if you guys know what my job is. I literally go to houses all day long. So if we are having a conversation about houses, I seen them all. I don't think that there's a house that you can throw at me that I ain't seen before. I'm talking cottages, houses, castles.
Well,
Well, I guess in that case, what do you reckon? So if you squint your eyes and tilt your head just so, I mean, it's kind of moved a little bit since we've been here chewing the fat. But what would you say? I mean, I thought it looked like a cottage, but I don't really know much about buildings much.
Yeah, I'd call that a cottage. Looks like probably maybe thatched roof. Got probably straw made for the roof. Not, in my experience, the most architecturally secure roof from what I've seen of these houses, especially, give it like 10, 15 years, that roof's going to be gone.
yeah.
Completely. So I don't understand why people do it, but they do it. But yeah, I say I agree with you. I'd call that definitely a cottage, closer to a cottage than anything else, for sure.
What do you think, Maisie? Do you think some sort of critter or person lives in their cottage? If that's what it is.
Well, I was thinking it kind of looks like my Uncle Peter, who has a really big belly.
Oh,
So probably food lives in there.
food? Does your Uncle Peter have a favorite kind of food? Is he into spicy food like the Burninator, or?
He really likes lots of stew with potatoes and carrots.
Big fan of stew myself.
Yeah, I got kind of sick of stew after having it every day for ration. But
I can think of worse things to eat, though I can understand, too much of a good thing and all.
yeah. Plus having to repurpose it from I'd rather not go into that one. That one's kind of gross.
Fair enough.
It's best left in the past.
Sure, that one definitely.
Don't want to get your brambles caught in a bramble bush. I get it. Bumbles caught in a bramble bush is what I meant to say. I was a little distracted by the food belly uncle cottage talk.
Bumbles get caught in brambles.
Sometimes, you get them stuck good, and you gotta go in there and you gotta prune it out real nice and just kind of walk them back. See, they're real good going forward. Things about bumbles you gotta understand. They're really kind of aware of their situation, and they're really good at going forward. But trying to get one to back up can be just an absolute pain in the bumble butt.
You said bumblebutt.
I did say bumble butt.
Now, you don't repeat what he says. We don't want you to get in trouble with your bombs.
That's true.
Yeah, I suppose it's not very proper to say.
That's true. I don't really know much about manners, but I do know respecting your folks is something one ought to do.
Okay.
Fine.
Spoken like a real dad, Cecil.
Well, you learn. You come by it honestly. You learn here and there, and it just happens. My wife and I don't have one of our own yet, but hoping to maybe one day.
Will you name it Maisie?
I just might, and then you guys have to meet and figure out. You'd be the first Maisie, of course, because you're already existing and all. But you could teach young Maisie how to be a Maisie.
Well, she could be her own Maisie, or it could be a boy Maisie.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that. I'll be honest. It seems so far in the future that I haven't given it much thought. But I think Maisie's a mighty keen name.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Cecil,
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were married.
Oh, yeah. Took the Bumbles on the road. It's kind of a necessity. They get a little stir crazy from time to time. But yeah, my dear wife, she's back home tending the kind of family plot, if you will. Very gracious woman. I'm very lucky to have her in my life. But yeah, she actually gave me this kind of little knife that I got here with me, and it's more. I'm a little bit intimidated by it, if I'm being honest. But she worries and wanted me to have something in case something goes wrong or whatnot. Hopefully not, but wanted me to be protected. It's one of my favorite things that I've got, actually.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, finish your thought.
Oh yeah, just one of my favorite things. I like to look at. It's kind of pretty. I don't really know the only thing I really know about it is that I don't want to hit myself with the pointy end. But other than that, it's just kind of nice to look at. Remind me of home.
Yes, that's very true. You got to be careful of that pointy end there. That side, they made it very special to go directly into the body, as it was.
Oh gosh, I've just been like peeling apples with it. To be honest, I haven't really been.
They also make it special to peel apples, cut your food.
Yeah.
I suppose it really is all about how you view the tool. Is really what determines what it's for.
Well, I know some techniques for the former and a little bit more of the latter. You ever want to learn?
I hope I don't need it, but if I do, you'll be the first person I turn to. Don't you doubt. I appreciate the offer. Mighty kind of you.
A thin smile goes across the raccoon's face. Yeah, it's nice to be appreciated. Helps to polish off the old skill set from time to time.
Well, that is something I appreciate about kind of all of us, to be honest. Since I've met you guys, I've learned so much more about the world past my own back door. Since we've been wandering, I think that we all have certain skill sets and strengths and weaknesses that we kind of complement each other on. So I just wanted to say, while we got this nice moment, this nice day, the cottage cloud in the sky, that I really, really appreciate all of you and for letting me come along on this journey. It's really kind of, what is it that the highfalutin folks say? Broadened my worldview, I guess. I appreciate y'all for that. And Maisie, you're part of that too. I've learned something from you, so thank you.
You're welcome.
I gotta meet the Burninator, and that's a high honor. I mean, that's probably the highest, most powerful, important person I've ever met.
The Burninator's just a rock, Cecil.
Oh, what? Really? Shoot. Well, in that case, then I guess that makes you the most important person I've met so far.
I'm tired now. I'm gonna go back to my house.
About time for a nap. I feel that.
Take it easy, Maisie.
You have a great day, Maisie.
You gonna be okay getting back there on your own? I know you're capable, but just figured I'd ask.
Yes, I've done it lots and lots of times.
Of course, of course.
I know the exact proper path. Yes, so you have to go around there and just right at that rock. Then you leave the lake and you go back the way we came. And you have to go on the left side of the tree, not on the right side. And then if you go down the road, when you see the little post with the little picture of the flower on it, then you turn right. And then you count to 50, do 50 steps. And then there is the house with the red roof. And that is my house.
Well, shoot, you've got that down pat.
I don't think I can count to 50.
I don't know if I can either, to be honest. You're a incredible person, Maisie.
Thank you. I'm very good at doing things all the right ways.
Good luck to you, and give our best to your folks, all right?
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
But
And she toddles off.
Well, y'all, I mean, I'd be more than happy to stay here and watch these Striders and Clouds more, but do we have anywhere pressing we need to be? I know any mail we need to get done or what have you.
I was about to say, I think since we got everybody here together, maybe we should start kind of trying to get to the bottom of this proper mayor, as it were. It's still a little bit unclear about that, and I think we could probably do some pretty good to start asking around for a little bit. We got a little muscle with us. We got someone who's great with people, clearly. We got everything that we need, I think, to figure out what's going on with this mayor situation.
maybe prevent a coup, he says with his dark, piercing, bright eyes, and kind of adjusts the pocket knife in his hands.
I don't know. I just deliver the letters. That's my job. I'm not in any of this coup business. The closest I get is they did give us some training with knives as well, just in case someone tries to steal the letters. But other than that, I ain't one much for that war kind of stuff. I've seen enough of it delivering the letters. I'm good.
I heard coups are for the birds, anyways.
I was just about to ask, actually. Now that when I think of a coup, I do think of like a bird folk. Sometimes they make a noise, kind of sounds like that. Is that what we're talking about? Just bird noises?
Oh, Cecil, I don't know how far you've gone off the pasture, but it seems like not far.
Shoot, I mean, my
be
backyard
saying stuff like that about the bird folk.
I
mean, I don't want to like put you on blast here or anything, but I mean, like, yeah.
No disrespect. I'm so
I know you
sorry.
come from a smaller farm. It's not your fault, but
yeah, if I offended anybody, I do apologize. I don't mean anything untoward or negative. I'll be honest. I just wanted to. My apologies. I didn't know that could be a thing. I've not had much experience with these things. I don't think so.
Totally understandable. You're amongst friends.
I appreciate it, and thank you for the learning opportunity. Honestly, that's how we get better in this here situation.
We're just busting your stones anyways. Taps on the burninator.
Fair enough.
Are you guys talking about a kelp?
A kelp?
A kelp?
I don't know.
It's a coop, son.
Coop?
Coop.
Oh, like thing you keep chickens in?
Hold on a moment.
Wait, no, that was the bird thing.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
Or Bumbles? Do Bumbles go in coops? They probably go in coops.
I feel like we're missing.
I thought it was the doves that coo.
No, an uprising, a revolution, an insurrection.
Oh, well, that sounds dangerous.
Which
Those
is
are all
surely going
really
to
long
happen
words.
if we don't get to delivering this package instead of talking about bird sounds and locking birds up.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't mean that either. I'll follow your lead. Honestly, I'm gonna stop talking now for a little bit. I think I've put my boot in some manure and then in my own mouth. If you know what I mean.
Well,
I do not,
think
but I
you're-
think I get the sentiment.
Ew.
Yeah, I mean, you're eating crow now, which is also very offensive.
Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't think I could. I mean, they're pretty
You
big.
guys, I know that I'm a bat and not a bird, but you know, it's kind of similar. They're my cousins.
I don't want to eat you
uncles.
either, for the record.
This-
Just put it
I
on the
don't-
table.
I don't think that you guys have any ill will towards me, but you're hurting my feelings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I-
So I mean, just something to be aware of. Can we maybe stop being so mean to the birds?
Cecil will pull off his hat and put it over his chest and just go, "Look, I'm deeply sorry. I didn't mean to offend you in any such way. My apologies. Well, I'm so sorry about any misgivings that I may have hurt your feelings over."
All right. Claps his hands, adjusts his fingerless gloves. I believe we got a letter to deliver.
We most certainly do. Let's go find the guy.
Let's do that. Yeah.
All right. So, where do you go, Val, to find potentially where this mayor is?
Well, I imagine if we're looking for the proper mayor, I'm guessing that means it's not the actual mayor that is currently seated. I think our best bet is probably to go a little bit more away from the main part of the town. Maybe a little bit on the outskirts of the town where people who are not necessarily vibing with society every day, those are probably the guys who hear the whispers and can tell us where we need to be going.
So yeah, you kind of straight from the center hub of town, you get towards the edge of town. It just kind of turns into farming land again. On the other end of town, see some more sorts of farms. I don't know what seasonally goes with apples, so I'm just gonna pick a random food, and they happen to go at the same time now. Let's say pumpkins.
Pretty much.
There's a pumpkin farm, and there, yeah, you can see a snake folk is slithering around, kind of checking. They seem to be checking on the pumpkins. The tail comes up and gives them a good tap. Yeah, sort of pokes them around. Yeah, feeling the weight. Going on to the other one. Kind of sees you. It's a rattlesnake. They kind of give you a rattle wave as you walk past.
Give the old wave.
And they kind of slither to the edge of their patch and say, "You seem to be looking for something. Are you lost?"
Not exactly. We're looking. Maybe you can help us out. We're looking for the mayor, but we're not looking for the mayor. We're looking for the mayor. If you catch my drift.
Not
Sort of like a
really.
sledgehammer.
This place, Loch Lively, doesn't have a sitting mayor or anything like that sort of authority. There's a family, the mayors. That's all I can think of.
That place got an address?
It's back that way. Let me see if I can remember the directions. It was 30 slivers, and then pause, and stop and look for any passing oxes, and then slither 15 more, and it will be the first house on the right. But I realize those directions aren't very helpful for the folks that don't slither.
Yeah. I guess a better way to ask would be, what's the house look like? I've seen plenty of houses. I know a lot about houses. If you can describe the house to me a little bit, I have a good feeling that I can find this place.
Okay, it's square with several windows.
Okay, not narrowing it down so far.
There's a door, 6 windows all up, and At the front, there's a silver fence.
I think that the fence might be our best bet. I can't think of anything else that's really going to make that house any different than every other house that I've seen. But yeah, let's take those directions that we got. Let's kind of guesstimate what we feel like a slither is, and let's go down to find that silver gate.
Do you happen to know, is the roof made of, is it a thatched roof? Is it a grass roof? He's very specific about what roofs are made of.
Say, I haven't really stopped and stared at the roof. It's not. It does not have a chimney.
No chimney.
Mm.
I don't know if that's helpful to you, Val, but there's no chimney. We got that.
I think I should probably utilize one of my actual abilities. You see Zacchaeus kind of look into he's got like a little like trench coat. And he goes into one of his pocketed things. And you see like a light kind of come out of it, and there's a little firefly that comes up and spirals around. And he kind of goes, can you show us the way?
Does this firefly have a name?
Perseus.
Perseus kind of buzzes around, taking in the sights, and it sort of alights on the snake's head for a moment, and then leaps off and starts flying into town.
Oh, shoot. Let's go.
All right.
Ooh, all right, let's get out of here.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
You're welcome. Safe travels.
You as well.
Indeed.
And it sort of zips into town, this firefly, Perseus. Top speed, doesn't really stop to see if you're following or not. And it continues just beelining straight through town, zipping around, and stops. And you see to the left and to the right, you see to the left, there is a two-story establishment, probably of the house variety, with two chimneys. And to the right, you see perhaps a cottage, maybe a house on the borderline of the house and cottage line, with a silver fence out the front and a red roof.
Well, now maybe I'm being a bumble in a breadbasket, but if I had to guess, I would say it's probably the one without the chimneys.
You know, I think you might be onto something. I'm gonna go with you there and agree. The fence also being a very distinct silver color leads me to believe that this is in fact the house that we are looking for.
And as you step up, Val, you see there's a little sign on the front that says the Mayers, spelled M-A-Y-E-R-S, the Mayers, the family who apparently lives here. A pretty well tended front yard, very, very neat. And Zacchaeus, with your discerning eyes, you would note that all the grass is exactly 1 centimeter tall.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very purposefully designed garden with flower beds that the flowers are arranged in rainbow order across the front windowsill of the abode. And that's what you see. There's a short path of gravel leading up to a front door with a little ramp.
Now, Val, did you say that we needed to find the popular mayor? The poplar mayor? What's this the mayor of?
The poplar mayor.
Yeah.
That's a great question. So I'm going to be totally honest with you. My hearing, I know that they say bats have great hearing. I am not one of those bats. My hearing could be improved. It could stand to be better. So maybe I misheard, but I know that I heard something mayor of this town. So maybe this is what we're looking for. I think this is a great place to start.
Fair enough.
Phil, you got to pay more attention on your briefings.
Listen, there's a reason why normally my job is just to watch the moths and make sure that they get the letters dead. This is atypical of my career field, so I'm not exactly trained in this all the way. I'm sorry.
You know, I've been meaning to talk to you. Like, no disrespect, your moths are gorgeous, but one of these days we need to have a conversation about how you think they hold up against bumbles, because I'm quite partial one way over the other. But I would love to learn more about your gorgeous moths that you tended. That sounds real nice.
That I can agree with that. I definitely am also a fan of your bumbles, and I think that they definitely look like they are much softer to pet than the moths are. But I think that the moths are just a little bit prettier. But that's, again, you know, we're all going to have our biases, and that's totally fine.
Respect.
But again,
respect.
right back to you, no disrespect in regards to the fact that my moths are a little bit prettier than your bumbles.
I respect your opinions as your own. No worries there.
So shall we knock on this door, see what's going on with these people, see if there's letters for them?
Ponderos, do you want to do the honors?
Oh.
You don't have to.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I
Yes.
just figured knocking might be, something that you'd enjoy.
What's that supposed to mean?
As a young person,
I've been bouncing my leg this entire time, but yes, I like doing things, and I think she just reaches out and just on the door.
Just knocking, and the door does open, and you kind of knock, and you see there is a short black cat opens the door with these very arresting sort of golden eyes. Chubby cat, and she opens the door and says, well, that was a very insistent knock. What can I do for you? It kind of looks at, are you all sort of approaching the door? Did you sort of send Ponderosa out in front of you?
I'm gonna
right there too.
I'm gonna blurt out a secret, and I'm just gonna say, we have a letter, we don't know which one of you needs to have it.
Oh my god.
Oh, a letter. Well, yes.
It's from the king. I want to know what it says really badly.
Letter from that. Wait. It sounds like there's a story attached. Why don't you come in? I was just putting on a kettle to get some nice soothing hot chocolate going. Maisie needs hot chocolate before she goes to bed, but if you come in, I'm sure we've got a number of couches and footstools and things, and I'll take Maisie her hot chocolate, and then you can tell me all about this king. Sounds quite intriguing. She sort of leads you in.
I think Cecil, being the backwards kind of folksy folk that he is probably at the end of the pathway by the gate. Like, would it be all right if I came up the driveway? No, I didn't want to be disrespectful.
Yes, if you will. Absolutely. I see you've got quite a gorgeous herd of bumbles there.
I do. Is it okay if they just kind of mill around in the front yard here? They won't.
Yes, if you can keep them to the left side.
Left side.
Yes, the left side flowers are yes, they're free to be partaken from if your bumbles are
the left side as we're facing the door, or your left side as you're in the door?
The left side of you there, the pointing to Cecil. Yes, your left.
He's going to go ahead and get down to eye level with Mary and go, all right, Mary, you're the biggest bumble that I've got. So you're going to be in charge, right? We need to keep to the left side here. I know that, the right side might be mighty tempting, but we got to respect these people's boundaries. We're guests here. And he's just saying this out loud. I mean,
and the cat sort of nods in appreciation and ushers you in to her home, and you can see there is another cat of the sort of tortoiseshell variety, or the brown and white and orange in various mismatched patches all over. And there is indeed a kettle whistling away on a stove. And you can see there's a number of cushions and things and blankets. A very nice sort of nest could be made seated where you were. And a hot chocolate is poured into a little cup, and the black cat says, "I'm just going to give this to my daughter. I'll be right back." And she sort of fills in her wife and says, "Yes, these fine folks said that there was a letter from a king, and I just had to invite them in to. It seems like there's a story attached to that. So you settle. I'll be right back." And she goes off for a moment, and the second cat comes and says, "Yes, so hot drinks. I'm making hot drinks now. I can also do cold drinks. But anyone want a hot drink currently? Can I see some paws in the air? Any paws? Yeah, I've got two, 3 paws. 3 paws for hot drinks. The paws that are down, do you want a cold drink?
Yeah, sure. I suppose.
Cold drink. Would you like a cold drink?
Just some water, probably.
Some water. Yes, I can do room temperature. Sort of whatever the temperature that it comes out of the spout, I can do that. Okay, so I've got 3 hot drinks. I'll have a hot drink. Shell will have a hot drink. All right, cool. Please make yourselves at home. And at this point, Shell comes back, the black cat, and sort of sits down and invites you all to sit while her wife settles drinks. And she turns to Ponderosa and says, "Now tell me about this letter from a king. Which king would that be?"
I'm going to get distracted, and I'm just kind of like looking around this place, kind of like, sorry, what?
A letter from a king. You said that there was for someone in this household.
So Vel is gonna step in because you can see that clearly Ponderosa is a little bit in over his head, kind of jumped into it a little bit too quickly, and in a sort of exasperated tone, just what my friend is trying to say is, I am a moth tender. I deliver the mail, and I got a letter from the king of the floating mountain. He said that it was a summons for something mayor of this village. I do believe that may be you, but I am not certain. Do you have any reason to believe that, or rather, do you have any reason to expect getting a letter from the king of the floating mountain?
I think he did mention like a poplar mayor or maybe a popular mayor, something like that. So I don't know if y'all are popular or have
Is there anybody's name here that starts with a P?
maybe yeah.
I misheard it.
There's me. I'm Shell. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Shell. That's my wife Danielle, and we have our daughter Maisie. So none of those start with a P. Popular. I wouldn't call us wildly popular or anything like that. Peculiar, perhaps. That we have, quite a peculiar or proper way of doing things that sometimes.
Did you say? I'm so sorry to interrupt. Did you just say you have a proper way of doing things?
Well, I like to believe that there is often a, how shall I put this? A perhaps most efficient way of doing things, a proper way, if you will.
So I did not mishear. You guys heard it. She said proper. The king definitely said proper mayor. I did not mishear. You all owe me an apology.
Well, what do we do? I'm a little confused.
What's the letterhead say?
In this case, they did not. It's just a plain envelope with a very nice seal. Very nice envelope, totally clean, and just said for the proper mayor. And I would say in this case, I feel as the male guy, the moth tender here, I feel confident in delivering this letter to you, if you feel confident in accepting it.
Well, I mean, technically there are 3 mayors in this house. Are you sure that it's for me?
I feel like anybody in the house can see the letter. So, yes, you can have it if anybody else in the house feels like they can have the letter.
I think with her approval, we should probably just read it.
If you had to rank the properness of everyone in the home, would you say like, are you like closer to the top of properness, and then maybe your lovely wife, and then
Oh my
I think
god.
actually I would probably be on the bottom. Maisie would definitely be at the very, very tip top.
well, maybe it's for
Of
Maisie.
course.
You know, man, there's a lot of
And
people
then-
named Maisie in this town. That's pretty incredible. This is the second one we've met. Well, heard
What
of.
do you-
We haven't met them yet.
Really?
Technically.
I got a feeling, and I don't want to insult you, but I got a feeling this is probably the same Maisie that we
Well,
met before.
well, shoot, paint me black and yellow and call me a bumble. That is incredible.
I wonder if this Maisie knows the days we met at the lake.
That's my. We met a Daisy at the lake. Were they next to the Burninator?
Yeah, with the rock.
Were they the rock, or was that? How many people did we meet at that lake? That's a
One.
One.
Oh, Maisie took you to meet the
Finding
Burninator.
gathering.
I'm sorry, miss. What did you say about the Burninator?
I was just marveling that Maisie took you to meet the famed Burninator. Apparently, my bow is not correct enough yet. I have not been bestowed this honor.
You got
That
to
would definitely put you at the bottom of the proper totem pole.
that is a fair point. You got to get that bow right. You know, it's
Yeah, don't you stop looking at the letter.
Actually, oh, of course.
I
My
take the
apologies.
letter back.
And calls over Shell. No, she's Shell. She calls over Danielle, who starts handing out hot drinks and just sort of chuckles and says, "Oh, I think you're proper, dear." And gives her a bit of a kiss and says, I believe the second one says, "Well, I believe I'm second on the properness list. If that I could perhaps take the letter." And you hear a small voice saying, "But yes, I'm at the very tip top of the proper list. You heard what Mum said, so I think I should have it."
There's one thing I can never be, and that's patient. And at this point, all patience has been lost. So Zacchaeus just grabs the letter from Vel and just opens it with his pocket knife and just starts reading.
Oh
What
no.
does it say?
Oh shoot! I just put myself in the spot.
Oh,
I can tell you that all I know is it is a summons from the king of the floating mountain for the proper mayor.
To the proper mayor, you have been cordially invited by the king of the mountain, the third of his name, highly exalted amongst the clouds and amongst the common folk, to attend a specific appointment in which we can discuss private matters in earnest about the nature of such and such, and so it goes on, like legally beating around the bush. That basically says like you're invited to a proper meet and greet with myself to discuss plans that I will disclose at the time of the appointment.
So I must ask, Ponderosa, does this satiate your curiosity, or do you feel like you are at the same exact spot that you were at when we began?
I stopped listening at the word earnest.
what I'm wondering is are we invited as well because we delivered the letter, or was?
That is not typically how it works.
That's how that works.
Oh. Well, I just figured if someone's having a cookout, we'd all go. But
I mean,
We have
what I
to
will
be
say to you is, in normal circumstances, just standard citizen to citizen kind of mail in these sort of situations. Should I feel inclined to, I would crash the party. But this is the king that we're talking about. And like I said, he's just a guy, but he is a guy who can have you thrown in jail.
Oh.
So maybe it is not in our best interest in this case to crash the party.
That is a fair point. I had not considered the consequences of our potential actions in this.
Consequences.
Yeah.
It's a big word for it.
I heard somebody say it once. I'll be honest, I don't think I quite know what it means, but it sounded bad, so I figured I'd use it.
Oh.
Cecil, you
And
need more.
Maisie sort of had been listening to this letter as it was read out. She goes, "Well, it's so fancy. That's a real proper letter. I should write one back." She goes and like grabs some paper and says, "To the King of the Floating Mountain number 3. What was that word? Cordial.
Cordially.
I believe the word you're looking for is cordially.
Cordially.
I do not know how to spell it.
I
There's gotta be,
cordially.
there's gotta be a J in there somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, probably.
See,
Well, that's not how you spell cordial like the drink, so I don't think so.
oh, maybe not. So
I
wait,
think it's probably the same.
is he inviting you to drinks? Like to have some cordial? Because that sounds
I
nice.
think so. Cordial is a good drink to have with afternoon tea when it's a hot day.
If you don't mind my intrusion, I would like to.
A little bit.
I'm sorry. As an adult, I'm going to do it anyway. I would like to ask your mothers their opinion of you getting a letter from the king, if they believe that this letter was properly delivered.
And the two of them are, sort of lounging, watching this, and they say, "Oh, Maisie, you keep writing your letter," and kind of gesture you about and say, when you met this king, our Maisie has a lot of friends who've come and passed through, much like yourselves. Actually, she's quite friendly, as I'm sure was hoped for your experience. But well, I guess I have a question for you, dear Moth Tender. When you received this letter, could you be sure that it was, a king of royalty? Could it perhaps have been some otherworldly being, or perhaps someone playing a role? Or I'm just, with Maisie, I'm not really prepared to rule anything out. It could indeed be from a king. For all I know, she's made friends with a king at some point.
That is a fair question. I do not think that I have a satisfactory answer for you, but what I can tell you is I got this from somebody in the top room of a castle. It is a very nice castle. It was a very big castle, and it was floating in the air on a mountain. So, hence, King of the Floating Mountain.
That's very straightforward, yeah.
And I do believe that he was, in fact, the king.
He was wearing a crown.
He was not wearing a crown at the time, no, now that I think about it. But he was also not sitting on the throne, and I think that might be the only time that they wear the crown. I'm not super familiar with the daily goings-on of royalty, as it were. But if I had to guess, that's the only time those crowns look mighty uncomfortable. I know I would not wear one all day myself. But I will say that if you do have hesitations or you do feel a little nervous, I do believe that the king probably would not mind if Maisie's parents were to accompany her to this outing, considering she is a child.
Could be a nice little holiday getaway.
Also, I don't want to give you parenting advice, but I do think that you should go with her anyway and should not be sending her on her own to a castle. Granted, that is none of my business. I know that is none of my business.
I hear your concern for Maisie's safety, and I do appreciate that. Yes, well, a holiday could be nice. I'm sure Maisie knows the correct way to get to this floating mountain. Well, I think perhaps we'll have a chat with Maisie, proofread her letter, perhaps engage in a bit of correspondence and see where that takes us. Well, you're a motto. how about this? Would you mind staying for tea? And that way Maisie can finish her letter, and then you can take it with you, Val, and take it to the King of the Floating Mountain in response.
I do not mind that if my compatriots also do not mind hanging around, having a little bit of tea.
Sure. I am a little concerned, though, that we may have the wrong mayors, all due respect.
Honestly, personally, I feel if this is the wrong mayor, that is on the king at this point. Not my fault. If he wanted it delivered to the proper place, he should have done what everybody else does and put an address on the letter. He's not special just because he's the king. I'm working with what I got here. I did the best that I can, and I have delivered this letter to somebody by the name of Mayor who is very proper. I feel like I've done my job, and who knows if I give the letter back to the king and he says, why is this written by a child? This is not who it's supposed to have. Then I'll know, and I can come back here and tell them, hey, no offense, I know you're very excited about this get together with the king, but it's not happening. So,
But I mean, how likely is that to happen? I mean, he's going to be overjoyed to get this returned correspondence, as you said. I don't quite know what that means. His letter, if you will. He's going to be happier than a bumble in a batch of honey. I mean, he's just going to grin ear to ear.
Yeah, I do believe either way, nothing can go wrong except maybe I can get in some trouble for delivering it to the wrong person. But that is a risk that I am willing to take at this point.
Cecil, you've never seen any rain clouds in your entire life, it seems.
Well, I mean, sometimes it rains, but, without rain, you don't got the rainbow.
That's a metaphor. Anyways,
The
Miss
rainbow
Mayor.
or the rain? Never mind.
I just kind of gently tap your cheeks. Is there a what you would call a mayor with a Y-O-R in this town?
Oh, as in some authority figure that tells everyone what to do.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that.
Ponderosa's like, I am home.
I am relieved to hear
Please
you
just
say
call me
that.
Shell.
I was afraid that perhaps
Sheldon.
we might have been deceived by the snake, who did not have the best directions to find your home. So hearing it from a second person makes me feel much better about this whole decision. I am going to say this letter is for you, irrefutably, without a doubt. And I really look forward to delivering your daughter's letter back to the king.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Yes, we do get a bit of correspondence now and then, but as I said, Maisie does have a number of friends who travel, and whenever a moth tender comes through, she likes to go and greet them and see if there's any mail. But yes, well, this one has quite a fancy. What do you call that on the front there?
That would be. I do not know. I should know.
Wax insignia. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the seal you're talking about.
Mm.
Oh. We are looking at letters differently then. I thought you were talking about the front of the letter, not the back of the letter. Yes, that is a seal. It is very fancy. The king knows. He knows how to package them. I'll put it that way. Never seen an ugly package leave that castle.
Well, that wouldn't be proper, would
and
it?
Maisie's like sitting there writing, and you can see her writing is turned into drawing, and she tugs Cecil's arm and says, I forgot all your Bumble's names. See, he's the really, really big one, and he's the really, really tiny one that was helping me in the tree. Could you write their names down?
But of course, it'd be my pleasure. Let me just make sure
Be your pleasure.
Yeah, you get it. Let me just make sure I'm spelling them correctly. It's gonna take probably a longer amount of time than is probably warranted, double checking his own spelling, and even then, some of them are probably a bit shaky, but it gets the message across.
You're basic, it's what I like.
I mean, it's true.
Proper.
That's true.
Thank you. And she keeps like writing and drawing, and it just kind of turns into, and today I did this and I met these people, and it starts, this stack of paper that she's writing on slowly grows, and she looks over at Val and says, is there a maximum limit of the carrying weight of one of your moths?
There is not. It all depends on how much. I'm assuming that this postage will be paid for by your lovely folks and not by yourself. So that is up
What
to them.
kinds of payment do you take? Do you take acorns or treacle tarts or hugs?
You know
or
what?
A dance or a
Normally,
song? Or I
Dance.
could. Oh, hang on. You're a bat, right? I could give you. I could. Maybe because bats. Most of the bats that I know, they can't see very good. I have a telescope that I could give you.
Oh,
that is very sweet of you. And normally, were you any other person, I would accept that telescope. However, you have won me over. You are very much on my good side. This one, we'll put it on the books that it's paid for already. And however many pages you want to write, let's try to keep it a little bit in reason for these poor moths. But it's totally fine.
I understand that. That seems very proper. Gotta have. I'm going to write exactly 20 pages.
Holy
The moths can handle that.
They look very strong, so I thought that would be true.
They're quite robust moths, I will say.
What's a letter?
And Maisie's like sitting up at the kitchen bench writing away on all these bits of paper and drawing. And she decides to craft her own envelope to fit all the pages in. And she draws on the front, and on the front she draws a picture of the house. Then dinner starts sort of getting main and getting all ready. And Michelle comes over and says, well, since the weather is still nice out, and there are quite a few more folks here today than we typically have at dinner, I thought we could eat in the backyard on a picnic blanket, if that suits everyone. We do have some chairs and cushions for comfort, if needed.
That does sound lovely.
Mighty kind of you to offer.
Thanks for your hospitality.
Of course.
indeed.
They start sort of ferrying out food. I would like everyone to name a dish that they would like to have for dinner. Can be a dish or a dessert, main or a dessert.
Gumbo?
I would like a cheesecake.
Mm.
Can I
Just
do a
like
drink?
plain cheesecake?
Just plain.
Can I do a drink instead?
Mm-hmm.
Lemonade.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Cricket's legs.
Cricket's legs.
Just like
Interesting.
big
Sure.
drumsticks.
Cajun.
Yeah, pretty Cajun.
Edward, did you have a dish to add to the mix?
Like a really crisp, honey rice cake.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That sounds good.
Nice. And as Danielle's kind of serving things out and sets down the honey rice cake, she comes over to you, Cecil, and says, "Now this is just a local recipe of honey rice cake. I don't know if you have your own sort of recipe, so I hope you like it."
Well, shoot, I'm pleased as punch. Actually, I wouldn't mind, just because of your hospitality and your willingness to kind of put us up here for dinner. I'd like to give you the rest of this jar of honey that I've got here, so that you could maybe make some more. It's from the Bumbles out front, of course, but yeah, my wife handles most of the tastier food. I'll be honest, I'm not much. I've got like green thumb, but instead of for plants, it's more for cooking. Things end up a little bit charred and not strictly speaking edible. But no, I'd like to at least give you this token of our esteem and appreciation, if I may.
Thank you. That's very kind, Cecil. She takes that inside very happily. You have a wonderful dinner of gumbo with lemonade and cricket's legs, and then afterwards comes out the honey rice cake and the cheesecake. And Maisie is eating and also still pondering things that she wants to write for her letter. She's about 14 pages through out of the 20 now. And yes, is regaling you with various tales of things that she's done in the town, and giving you all the proper directions from her house to many other places, including the lake and various other farms, and how to exit the town. Afterwards, Maisie goes back and finishes her letter. She's getting a bit tired now, it's nearly the end of the day. And she folds up the 20 pages and puts them in an envelope. And then she goes, "Oh no, I don't have any wax for like a seal or anything, like to do a stamp like the king did."
What I can tell you is you do not have to worry about that. As a moth tender, one of the things that I keep on hand at all times happens to be this letter sealing kit. I reach into my satchel that I keep with me and pull out a little piece of wax and a little metal little presser to seal up envelopes.
What kind of shape does the metal sealer do? Do you have like a smiley face one, or like a shell one, or maybe like a flower one?
So I will say that I do not usually deal with children when I am doing this, so most of my seals are quite boring from your perspective, I suppose. However, I may have one with a moth on it.
That's kind of proper because you're a moth tender and you're gonna...
Yeah, and that's kind of fun, right? A little bit, would you say? So that's probably the funnest one that I have.
Okay, that's acceptable.
They hand it over.
Shell will light and drop the hot wax on, and Danielle gently places her paw over Maisie's, and they press into the hot wax, and off comes a moth, and Maisie jumps down from the bench and picks up the letter and says, "I hereby release to you my very important letter to the King of the Floating Mountain, and wish you very safe travels."
I do appreciate it, and I promise you I will make sure this is much like I would treat the king. I will hand deliver this myself. I will not be giving this one to the moths.
Oh. Ooh, wow. Cool. She stays up a little bit later. Her mums give her a little bit of leniency, having guests over, but eventually she goes to bed. The two cats start cleaning up dishes and that sort of thing, chatting to everyone. Night eventually comes to an end, and they thank you for coming and for being sort of kind and patient with their friendly, precocious child. Shell kind of comes over as the night's winding down and says, "Now, it has been very lovely. Is there anything you need before you leave? Folks that kind of travel through Loch Lively, sometimes they're looking for things, and just wondered if anyone here was looking for something."
I am a little bit. My mother taught me this song as a child. It's an old shepherd song, and I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I was curious if maybe you knew anything about, shepherd's music. Maybe you heard a ditty somewhere. I can't for the life of me remember how it goes. It's one of those memories that's just kind of been lost to the time. just figured I'd ask.
Do you happen to remember any of the key words or the title of the song?
Not off the top of my head. I've plumb forgotten most of it, almost all of it, really. I just kind of remember, a sweet, soft voice singing in the darkness as I would drift off to sleep. It was wouldn't say it was a scary song or a frightening song, but it was just kind of a nice, gentle song. It's not very helpful, I know. I apologize for that, but
Well, sounds like a lovely memory in any case.
it is.
I don't think I can help you
Oh,
find
that's
that one,
all right.
but
Appreciate the attempt.
I'm gonna use a token and allow someone to connect with you on a personal level. And he kind of starts humming what he heard in the field from a friend who was a shepherd before he was taken away too soon. It's something like that.
Like the sun coming over the hill, Cecil's face just blossoms, just alights in this huge grin. I mean, he's a pretty smiley guy normally, but this is like the next level. He's overjoyed. Well, that is just it. I've been searching for that for, gosh, I can't remember how many years. That is, I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you.
That was something Reggie used to sing all the time.
Reggie seems like a good folk.
Yeah, he was.
I'm gonna spend a token to ease someone's pain, only for a moment, and I'm gonna start singing the song with Zacchaeus and Cecil.
And there's like tears that kind of run down Zacchaeus's cheek as he kind of like rejoins the chorus. There's a moment where it's kind of hard for him to do that. Yeah, goes on like that for a while.
And yeah, the cats just kind of hold space for that, and Danielle kind of by the by kind of mutters under her breath. It's kind of funny how often the things we're looking for are right there already.
Ain't that the truth?
As this chorus comes to a close, I think that's a really beautiful point to end the session, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. That was really wonderful. So that's Wanderhome. That is a way that you can play Wanderhome. That is one collection of characters in one sort of place. I really enjoyed playing with everyone, and we've got time left, so if we all want to go around and say who we are, what we do, where we can be found, perhaps. Dane, I'm just looking at how it's configured on my screen. Dane, if you want to go first.
Oh, sure, that'd be lovely. My name's Dane. You can find me on Twitch at D and Dane, so DAND
Nice.
DAINE.
Yeah.
I'm also that on Twitter. Logan, thank you just for my own personal. This was amazing. I've never played Wanderhome before until today, but it's definitely something that I want to do more of. I heard about the Kickstarter and all that sort of thing, but this has definitely piqued my interest. So thank you.
Yeah.
Zoob, you want to go next?
Oh, hi. I'm Zoob from the Broken Lords podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Lords Broken. We are a actual play podcast that specializes in horror and weird fiction. So this was a complete scene change for myself. First time also playing Wanderhome. So kudos to Logan for getting us into this very sweet and endearing system. So high marks on that one. And we have a link tree, linktr.ee/The Broken Lords, and we're on all major, podcasting platforms. So give us a listen if you're so inclined.
Cool, thanks, dude. Yeah, it is a quite sweet, soft game. but also the kind of elements that Zubio especially were kind of bringing in. It can be a lot around healing and trauma as well, which can be really interesting directions to take in. Cool. Who's next? Ali?
Me?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I'm Ari. I am helping run this. I'm on the D&D OD&D podcast and of OD&D Presents, and I feel like this was definitely out of my comfort zone for sure, but like in a good way. And it's just like it doesn't feel as peaceful to me as definitely like cathartic, and like this is kind of how some of my counseling sessions have gone, and it is very. I can see how this would be meditative and healing. It's powerful. I want to do some more.
Awesome. Yeah, and sorry for getting your name wrong.
Oh no, you're fine.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. So first, I'll say thanks to Logan for doing this whole thing. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun kind of letting my old theater kid from school kind of back out and play around with that. That was a lot of fun. And very very approachable for someone who doesn't really do this that often. And so I'm Chris. I'm a software developer. So if anybody needs websites for their like content that they make, I'm in the process of building portfolios. So the rate, I will say the rate is probably much more reasonable than you would expect it to be right now. So you can find me and get a hold of me over at ChristopherMCarlson.com is my website. It's where all my links are. If I ever do anything else, any other kind of projects, that's where it'll be posted to kind of go there. And so again, thanks to Logan and thanks to everybody else for participating in this. It was a lot of fun.
We'll take that offline because I'm going to need 2 websites for sure.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And Edward.
Hey everyone, I've been Ponderosa, and after this, I'll be back to being Edward. I'm I'm a DM and a player here in Boise, so that's how I kind of was. That's how I found my way to this great event. This is my first time playing Wanderhome, and I gotta say, this is amazing. I'm definitely picking this up for the group I run. It's oftentimes like if a lot of players can't come and there's just a handful of us, we're kind of looking for a one-shot or something, and we might just play a board game online or something. But this is a great kind of thing, like just especially for my players who are just getting more comfortable with role-playing and instead of just mechanics. And then this is a game where that's all you're doing, so it's just really getting into characters, and some of them really like doing that, and this game really supports that and doesn't pun it, like you don't have to worry about mechanics at all. So this is a lot of fun. I think it's a great one to just kind of bring to a table for a night. But yeah, I guess I don't have anything to plug myself. My day job, or night job as it is right now, is helping out the wildfire effort. So I guess I'll plug stay informed on that, and and try to keep your area around you safe. Yeah, thanks Logan for running this, and I had a great time.
Yeah. This was really touching.
I'm very pleased that you all enjoyed it, and you're all first-time players, which is really great. Typically when I play Wanderhome, we play GM-less, so none of us is the GM, and we all just kind of
nice.
Where instead of me asking all the questions and describing things, we just all take turns, which is really fun. But
I can see that being once everyone's kind of more comfortable with it and like are used to it, that'd be really fun way to play.
Just vamp off of each other. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
100% give it a go. It's really I've really enjoyed it. But yes, thank you so much everyone for playing. That was all.
Logan, you get to pitch where you're found too.
Oh yeah, me. Okay, yes, I'm Logan. Happy and will continue to be Logan for the foreseeable future. And I can be found on Twitter a lot. I'm at ink_and_stories. I'm talking a lot about indie tabletop games there. I'm somewhat in the scene. I also design my own games, which can be found at breathingstories.itch.io. They're mostly games about relationships and connecting and being soft.
Nice.
Thanks, Dane.
Happy to, man.
I really love Wanderhome. Again, Wanderhome's by J Dragon. Can be found at possumcreekgames.com. As you've seen, it's really beautiful in the content, and the art is also really beautiful. If you get even the PDF, I got a physical copy, and I'm like really excited for it to arrive. And again, if you're not a huge fan of bugs, there's an insectophobe version of the book, so you don't have to have any pictures of bugs. Even then, they're all sort of mainly sort of cutesy and soft. But yes, that's me. That's where I'm found. And again, thank you so much for playing Wanderhome, which I really love.
Yay!
Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You guys feel free to put all your contact information in the chat on Twitch. That way people can just see the links. Coming up in about an hour 15, we'll have Lemurs on the Loose, which is powered by the Apocalypse game, created by Kate, and she's hosting it, and it's about lemurs trying to escape the zoo. So I'm kind of psyched about that. So 8 o'clock Mountain Time.
Heck yeah. If I may, are any of you guys doing anything else this weekend for this? Are we going to see any other games?
We have a whole nother day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I am going to be doing, if you're asking like what we're all...
Yeah. So like if you're going to be in something else this weekend, like in a game, can people find you somewhere else this weekend? I guess.
Yes. So I'm going to be doing Breakfast Cult tomorrow at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. And I might be doing Happiest Apocalypse on Earth at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I have to check my schedule just to make sure. But I anticipate I'll be doing that one as well.
Excellent. Obviously, we know some people are running the show, so they're going to be here. But Logan, are you running anything else this weekend?
No, I'm not running or playing anything else. I've got other stuff going on, and I'm in Australia, so like tomorrow is Monday.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's fair point.
I am
I'll
actually
be around.
8 a.m. I'm going to be running a sequel to our D&D game from last year, Murder at Mossbank. And in fact, Jess Wade, who wrote the one last year, wrote this one in a month.
Oh, man.
Just for us.
Just for us. So we'll be debuting it, and it'll be releasing on June 30th, or July 30th, sorry, officially for everyone else to buy in DM's Guild. So sneak peek. And then I'm also going to be in Happiest Apocalypse.
I'll be honest, I believe before I found the two games that I'm in this weekend, I tried to sign up for that one, but it was full. So I'm kind of actually grateful that it was full at the time, because this was a blast. So, sad I'm missing out on it. I'll have to check it and watch it and then pick it up on DM's Guild. But I'm, glad that things worked out the way they did, to be honest.
Yeah.
Zoob, Edward, you guys anything else this weekend, or is...
Well, I have audio to chop up tomorrow.
Fair enough.
And potentially streaming. Also signal boost this particular stream as well. I'm looking for an editor. I'm looking for a web designer, which apparently now I found. And I'm looking for a literary agent because I now have a novel. Manuscript completed. So, hey, if there happens to be any literary agents that are just chilling out in this stream for some reason, holler at your boy, I guess.
Fair enough.
I do want to just call out that Breakfast Cult is being run by our longtime offline DM for our games that we've been playing for years.
Yep.
Oh no, I'm kind of intimidated now. I'm actually going to be in that one.
Yes.
I'm in that one with Chris as well. I didn't realize that we're getting the special treatment here.
Yeah.
I'm excited. That's going to be fun.
That is good to hear. I could use all the hand holding that I can get.
We can fail forward together, Chris. You and me.
Yay!
The DM of that is Chris as well, and he actually did the layout of Breakfast Cult.
Oh,
That's right. I think you mentioned that. That's exciting. Yeah.
Awesome.
Edward, anything you want to talk about?
I was in yesterday's Monarchies of Mal game, which was a lot of fun. Of the kitties.
That sounds like a blast. I'm sad I missed it.
Yeah, those are the two I signed up for. I guess like I haven't been super up on it. If there is like a game that still needs some folks coming up tomorrow, I'm happy to jump in real quick. But I guess I wasn't planning on anything else. No.
Fair.
I think we filled them up.
Great.
It's a good problem to have, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I first signed up, I found this. I was like, "Oh, this is a great." I think I signed up for like 4 games, and then Dan messaged me. He's like, "Thank you for your enthusiasm. But we are willing to get to 2 right now."
I'm so glad. I was thinking about signing up for more than 2, and I didn't. And I'm glad that you had a similar experience. Because I was like, "Let's play all the games. Let's go."
Most of these were new to me, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at all these fun, like all based off all my interests." But I'm glad it was just because now I get to watch and enjoy it that way. So.
Well, I guess that just means for next year for us DMs, and here we got to try to sign on and run our own games, right?
Heck yeah!
Right, we'll make it. We got to expand this to a full week.
Yeah.
Of just
I'm so tired.
OD.
Sorry, Dan.
Dan, you get no sleep. This is
Not allowed.
OD
It's a
and
24/7.
Can we get a convention? When's that going, Dan? Do you have any dates on that already lined out? Or
And just heads up, there'll be VODs for all of the games we've played, so check them out. Once we're done here, I'll probably be trimming them down and putting them on YouTube. So you can even see the games from last year if you want. If you want to catch up on Mossbank, I can't promise I'll do the same voices again because I don't remember them.
That is fair.
I don't remember them between sessions, let alone a year.
Awesome.
All right.
yeah. MeowCon 2022. Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that'd be pretty cool if we could get like an indie group of people to make like an IndieCon or something like that.
Right.
Yes.
I'm here for it. Let me know. Be in touch, and thank you all for playing with me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And thanks, chat, for that stuff. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And thanks for all the donations.
Save the cats. Donate, please.
Yes, save the cats.
All right. Well,